Hello. Just a quick overview for those of you who weren't able to attend the meeting. I just wanted to maybe run through this just for 5 minutes for tomorrow and show you kind of where resources are and what our thought and our intent was. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously we'll have some pleasantries, and then we're going to run through our outcomes. Please feel free to edit, amend any of this stuff as well. The next thing we're thinking about is going into teaching and learning moments. So it's the on the line activity, and this is really our thinking here is really just to kind of get them up, get them moving, and this will be linked with the 7 principles, one of them being motivation, and we'll make that link on the next part. So I think we're all familiar with the on the line activity. Our questions are actually at the bottom here. So we actually revised it down to 3 questions. So we're going to ask, when learning, we're motivated by opportunities to work with peers and colleagues, challenge and opportunity, and then intrinsic rewards. And Carolyn made a good point of saying, we leave out extrinsic because it may be implied where they are on the spectrum there. So we'll do a share out, and we'll try to kind of like unpick some of that. It's a relatively short activity. We're thinking about 10 minutes for that. These slides are just simply just to kind of run us through it. And then this still needs a little bit of love. I'll make it a bit more beautiful, but this slide here is really gonna, and this is Martha's excellent point, this is gonna contextualize what we're up to today, how the reason we're gonna share our choices, our teaching choices for the principles, really the fact that they underpin what we do. And we are gonna, at this point, talk about, for example, how does students affect prior knowledge? They're going to be, and we're going to assign each of the hubs to each one of the principles. Okay, so that will be just a couple of moments. That's once again just explaining our choices. Then we're going to move on. So each one of these, the thinking is that, let's say each staff member has a table. We're gonna have to work out, we're gonna maybe go there a couple of minutes early and work out where we can sit. But if we could bring our laptops along, so I'll give you an example from my own one. I'm gonna have my laptop up and prior knowledge slide up and running. So I'm gonna do a short activity with my group, linking it with the principle and explaining the choice of why we decided to have our group with this particular principle as well. And at this point, we're thinking about 10 minutes as well. We kind of revised that down a little bit, and it might go longer. I mean, this can be maybe 1 or 2 minutes with us explaining exactly what some of the research is behind it, and then really trying to elicit the responses. So at this point, we will go over to the principle sheet, which is actually going to be in, I've gone ahead and so Carolyn, Erilyn and Cami, Martha and Sheena, you will have your sheet. So if we maybe just go on to Martha and Sheena's one, let's have a look. So this particular document is your cheat sheet, so to speak. So that's got all of the information on it, and this is the actual activity sheet for the staff, to our Commons colleagues to get stuck into. And so this is where the strategies are, so they can pick one. And this particular hub has a scenario base to it as well. So just once again, these are all living in our shared drive under the Engaged Teaching overview and 7 principles, and there's the slides here as well. So just I wanted to kind of navigate where exactly that is living at this point. Okay. So the next slides are really just all the individuals. So this is Carolyn's slide, what motivates students to learn, and please make them your own, tweak them, edit them, do whatever you want with them. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to kind of couch all of the slides with some fairly up-to-date research as well. And then this is Martha and Sheena's. So this is feedback. And this goes on a little bit. I'm not going to run through each one of those, but if you look at your particular ones, This is, of course, climate. So this is Erilyn and Cami at the end. And then finally, what we thought about doing, and this is something that developed out of our meeting, is we're a little bit pressed on time. So possibly one of us, we're thinking about Sheena, if we could maybe go around and start like taking some pictures of their work as they start kind of building and developing each one of the hubs, and then we can really just post it directly onto the Padlet wall up here. So we'll have this up in the background, and it will be kind of growing and populating. And then the final thing will be the engaged teaching facts and figures, and the motivation on this one is we're wanting to make the link between the 7 principles and what our offering is, and really kind of thinking kind of how intentional we are about when we're consulting with faculty, and when we're kind of doing our everyday jobs, we are referencing a lot of these principles and how they're woven into all things such as teaching consultations and workshops, and in supporting international IAs and TAs and so on and so forth. And then with that, we want to be really clear that the individual tasks, the individual principles assigned to each hub are fairly important, and could be possibly useful for them in the future so we want them to come away with something kind of tangible, a certain skill set as well. And then it just leaves us to wrapping up our formative feedback at the very end, and that is it. So I hope that wasn't too long, and thank you all for your hard work, and I hope you're all feeling good, and I'll chat to you soon. Cheers, everyone.